Welcome everyone to our YouTube channel, Learn City. Today we'll be taking a session on simultaneous equation. Simultaneous equation. At the same time, we'll be looking at past questions on word problems. Past questions on word problems. And subjects of formula. So, we'll be taking a brief overview of simultaneous equation now, and then we go to the past question, commence our crash course, then solve some question on different word problems and subject of formula. When talking about simultaneous equation, it is most of the time kind of like commonly we normally have like two linear equations with like two variables or unknown variables which you will be of duty or obliged to find. So that's just simultaneous equation, and it's always most of the time a linear equation, and you'll be expected or requested to find some unknown variables in the equation. So it's actually called a linear equation because the powers of whatever variables we are looking for or thereabouts is actually in the power of 1. When it gets to the power of 2, when it's in the power of 1, we call it a linear equation. For example, something like x plus 5 is equals to minus 1. In as much the power of our x is 1, this is a linear equation. If we have something like x squared plus 5 equals to minus 1, this is a quadratic equation. If we have something like x raised to power 3 plus 5 equals to minus 1, this is a cubical equation. In this case, the values of x can only be a value. We can only get just one value for x. In this case, the values of x will be two possible values, and in this case the values of x will actually be three possible values. So, but when I'm talking about simultaneous equation, is a bit different in regard that mostly it has to do with like 2 to 3 or 4 equations, minimum of 2 equations with minimum of 2 variables for you to find. So this could actually be solved either through substitution method, elimination method, or through graphical method. So we will be using all these methods in this tutorial, and then we'll be looking at different tests or appraisal of such methods by examiners in recent years. So I want you to join me in this study as we move forward. Let's take some illustration or some question on the solution to simultaneous equation using the different methods that we have, and then we move further to the past question and solve and see the way it's being addressed. So let's take an illustration on simultaneous equation. A question says, solve this simultaneous equation. 2x plus 5y is equals to 1. And 3x minus 2y equals to 30. In solving this question now, one of the main things that I want us to note in determining or peradventure knowing which method to use, either substitution method or elimination method or graphical method. Any of these methods could actually be used for any simultaneous equation and will result in the same answer. But there are technicalities that could be considered in determining either of the methods to use in order to make the process of profiling solution to be easy. Now, substitution method is best used when the variables, any of the variables we have, is actually having a coefficient of 1. For example, now, instead of having 2x plus 5y, and it means we have something like 5x plus 5y equals to 1, substitution method will have been easy to use, because we just say that let x equals 1 minus 5y, and that will form our equation 3. But in a situation whereby there's none of the parameters, or probably the unknown variables, that is having a coefficient of 1, then it's actually advisable we use an elimination method. So let's solve this question using elimination method. We'll try another question with substitution method, and then we check some things in the past question. In solving this question using an elimination method, there's nothing difficult therein. What you need to do is this. Is either we could actually take any of the variable, either x or y. So, but in this case, let's use x. What's the coefficient of x here? Is 2. The coefficient of x here is 3. So what you do is that you multiply equation 1 by the coefficient of x in equation 2, while you multiply equation 2 by the coefficient of x in equation 1. Or if you actually determine to use y, you actually multiply equation 1 by the coefficient of x, the coefficient of y in equation 2, and multiply equation 2 by the coefficient of y in equation 1. But let's use x this time around. Now, what's the coefficient of x in equation 2? That's actually 3. So multiply equation 1 by 3. Don't forget to term this as equation 1 and this as equation 2. So you multiply equation 1 by 3 and multiply equation 2 by 2, which is the coefficient of x. So now let's multiply. So we multiply all through with whatever integer we actually put on this side. So we have 3 times 2x, we have 6x plus 15y is equals to 3. And then we have 2 times 3x, that's going to be 6x minus 4y is equals to 2 times 30, that's going to be 60. Now, what we do now is we say subtract equation 2, call this equation 3, call this equation 4. Subtract equation 4 from equation 3. So, subtract equation 4 from equation 3, then we have something like this. So, in that regard, we're going to be having 6x minus 6x. So 6x minus 6x, 6x minus 6x is going to cancel out each other. That's why they call it elimination method. That is, trying to eliminate a variable such that it will remain just one variable and it will be easy for us to solve the equation. So, after eliminating this, we move on with our subtraction by saying then plus 15y minus 4y. Plus 15y minus, that's going to be plus. So, it's going to be plus 15y plus 4y. So, that's going to be 19y. Equals to 3 minus 60. 3 minus 60, that's going to be minus 57. So, we could solve y easily from this note. So we say divide both sides by 19. We have something like this. 19 here 1, 19 here 1, 19 here 1. 19 in 57, that's going to be 3. Therefore, the value of y is equals to minus 3. So we say substitute minus 3 for y. So you can use either of the equation. Go back, we are having 4 equations now. We have equation 1, 2, 3, 4. You can use any of the 4 equations, but it's better for you to look for an equation whose figures are a bit simplified. and not ambiguous, so that you not get ambiguous figures that's going to give you issues while continuing with your solution. So let's use equation 1 now. Substitute minus 3 for y in equation 1. So and what's equation 1? 2x plus 5y is equals to 1. So anywhere you see y, you substitute in minus 3. So we have 2x plus 5 in bracket minus 3 is equals to 1. So we have something like this, 2x. Now plus times minus, we have minus 5 times 3, that's 15, is equals to 1. Therefore, 2x is equals to 1, minus 15 comes here, become plus 15, and then we have 2x is equals to 16. Divide both sides by 2. Therefore, x is equals to 2 here 1, 2 here 1. So 2 in 16, 8. Our x is equals to 8. So that's that using elimination method. You could see, very simple. That's mathematics for you. You only need to understand the basic rudiments or the governing principles. I believe you've actually enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and to share it. Thank you.